Now, let me continue with a number of individual problems that challenge law enforcement in terrorist cases. An eternal problem in international cases of terrorism, like in all cases of transnational crime, is that of interpreters and translations. It is of a double nature. One thing is to find good and reliable interpreters. Especially with certain languages existing, it's not very easy to find them. I personally experienced this problem in a case where the suspects spoke Turkish and Kurdish language of its own, being spoken at parts of Turkey, Iraq, and Iran. The quality of the interpreters is normally out of any control of the operating officer. You know, we are not talking about interpretations of English, we are talking about languages like Turkish, Kurdish, Chechenian. Even Russian is not a problem, but there are so many languages existing around the world. Even Indonesian wouldn't be a problem in my country, but all these little minority languages you have, find the right interpreters and reliable ones is a problem. And in one major case against the PKK, which is a Kurdish separatist, and as we said in Germany, terrorist organization, it led to the dismissal of an indictment by the respective court in Düsseldorf. They found out that translations were wrong by doing extra translations, and with those wrong translations, the court said we cannot accept the indictment of the prosecutors. Interpreters, on the other hand, have to be screened carefully if they do not have any contacts to extreme organizations and persons. And this problem duplicates, I tell you, when wiretapping, listening into phones. Perpetrators use some encrypted language, and it takes a long time working for the interpreters of the same group until this encrypted language will be deciphered. A severe problem when information of the recorded conversation needs further action. I still remember that it took us a few days until we found out in a Turkish case, the interpreters always came up to us and said, they are talking about Natasha. Natasha is a Russian female name. What is a Natasha? Until we found out they meant Kalashnikov submachine guns, HK-47, very famous one. And they always talked about Natasha, so it needed some time until we started. Tapping and bugging. That means listening into telephone conversation, but putting microphones on specific places to listen into personal discussions can be very effective tools in the hand of the police. But these tools are unfortunately known to the extremist group nowadays, so the information that can be used as a prosecution tool or even as evidence, depending on the legal situation. Like in my country, we can use the information of a phone talk in court when it is written down in transcripts. The written transcripts are evidence at court. It loses importance because people don't use the phone anymore. Besides that, the amount of work to produce the transcriptions which are needed is immense, time-consuming, and in connections with translations, extremely expensive. Today, in the times of the internet, these tools have lost much of its importance as the electronic communications is prevailing. This again creates the need to train prosecuting police officers in this medium to have the ability to do online investigations. And this again creates a lot of problems, as in my country, as to do online investigations, you need new legislation. Luckily, our parliament succeeded in making such a legislation, but now the second chamber of our parliament is opposing against that, and it looks very unlikely that that law will not pass. It is today a daily police business to find one or more computers with internet connection during a search. Unlike the old times, when paperwork, still the times when I was a young police officer, paperwork, books and hard copy files were the wanted evidence and the basic material later to be presented at a court, it has become more and more often that hard drives are found and that they contain the information we are looking for, electronic information. Furthermore, a lot of this data is encrypted, not revealing its secrets. Experts estimate today that the investigators still are able to investigate 60 until 70% knowledge of the specific case. In the future, these experts predict that the amount of knowledge gained by the investigators will decrease to 20 or 30%. So you only get 20% of the knowledge of the whole case. How do you present it to a court? Unbelievable problems. And as all the experts at the moment, I don't have any answer, any clue for that problem. The United States tried it for a while, telling everyone inventing electronic encryption to give a copy of that encryption to a government's agency. But today, in the times of internet, when these encryptions can be done everywhere in the world, it doesn't help if the United Nations, if the United States have one of the keys, and even that doesn't work anymore. Very proactive and reactive role play the financial investigations. A major operation in the United Kingdom in 2006 that led to the arrest of 24 suspected terrorists was triggered by information gathered from financial investigations. For recruiting, indoctrinating and training to carry out terrorist attacks, those groups need money. They need a lot of money. And this is the starting point for investigations that can reveal terrorist networks and confiscate their assets. By tracing their bank accounts and the transfers of the money, you can find the organizations, and of course you can get the money too.